Do you know that feeling when you keep checking your phone all day just to not miss a meeting or anything important? I got tired of that, so I built this instead. This little device shows your entire day at a glance and updates automatically. But this isn't just a simple display, it actually changes depending on how you place it. Like this. This is an ambient mode. It slowly changes throughout the day and just sits there in the background. Flip it again. This is where it connects to Wi-Fi and your calendar. And this is a low power mode to save battery. And this is your day at a glance. Each dot represents 15 minutes, so you can instantly see how much time you have left until your next event. The white dots are just the timeline and the yellow ones are your actual events. So you can immediately tell what's coming up and how your day is structured. But now let's start building it from scratch. The core of this is a small LED matrix with an ESP32 built in. It's basically everything you need in one board, which makes the whole project a lot simpler. But getting it to actually look good took a few tries. At first, I just used a simple white front, but the pixels started to blur into each other. It looked more like a glowing panel than an actual pixel display, so I started experimenting a bit more, and the biggest change was going darker instead of brighter. I printed a black grid and placed it in front of the LEDs, and that completely fixed it. Now every single pixel is clearly separated and much easier to read. From there, I built the rest of the enclosure around it. Everything just snaps together, so there are no screws. The matrix clicks into place, then the battery sits right behind it. For the battery, I used a small 500 mAh LiPo. That's enough for a couple of days, depending on how you use it. The battery connects to a small charging board, which is wired directly to the ESP on the back. It's a pretty simple setup, but it keeps everything compact. I added a small holder for the charging board. That just slides into place, sits on top of the battery, and keeps everything organized. Then the whole thing gets closed with a back cover. And for the front, I added a simple plate that locks everything together. At some point it started to look like a tiny retro TV, which I didn't even plan. This whole enclosure went through a few versions until it felt right. I printed everything in PLA since the temperatures stay pretty low. But if you plan to run it at full brightness all the time, PETG is probably the better option. Although in my testing, a lower brightness is already more than enough for a desk setup. On the software side, I wanted to keep things just as simple. When you first power it on, you connect it to your Wi-Fi and link your calendar. To make that work, you just share your calendar and the device pulls the data from there. So it doesn't really matter if you're using Google, Apple or anything else. It just fetches your events in the background and keeps everything updated. If there's an all-day event, it just shows up as a line on the side and it updates automatically every 30 minutes, so you don't have to do anything. You can just add something to your calendar on your phone and it will show up here. So instead of constantly checking your phone, everything is just there. And I also added a small extra feature. If you shake it while it's in the calendar view, it shows all your events for the day as a scrolling text. It's a small detail, but surprisingly useful. Over time, I added the different modes you saw earlier. The ambient mode is there when you don't actively need information. The pairing mode handles setup like Wi-Fi and brightness. And the low power mode helps extend battery life, so depending on how you place it, it just adapts. That's probably my favorite part. You don't press anything, you don't open anything, it just works. And the whole thing is pretty affordable. It comes out to around $15 to $30 depending on where you get the parts. So it's not just something that looks cool, it's actually pretty easy to build yourself. And honestly, this is one of those projects I ended up using every single day. It just sits on my desk and quietly does its job. If you want to build one yourself, I put together a full guide with all the files, code and a complete parts list on my Ko-fi. So you can recreate the whole thing step by step without having to figure everything out on your own. And if you have ideas on how to improve it, just let me know in the comments. I'd love to keep improving this and see how far we can take it. But for now, I don't have anything scheduled, so I'll just read a few pages on my tiny e-reader. You can find that build here.